Okay, well, welcome to the February edition of the Philmont Leadership Challenge, or excuse me, the Beyond Philmont Leadership Challenge, also known as Beyond PLC. I'm John Richardson. I'll be serving as our host tonight for this reunion group of sorts where folks who have graduated from the Philmont Leadership Challenge or other leadership challenges, I know there's one out east as well at Summit Bechtel Reserve, where folks can come together and share all the what's going on in their world within scouting. And we also bring in a subject matter expert. And you guys are in for a treat. If you love nature in any way, you're going to love our guest speaker. But before we get to that, I just wanted to let you guys know that we got a couple of housekeeping items that we always do. And so first things first, if I get my point to click. There we go. Just a quick overview of what we're going to be covering today. Again, first things is we're going to check in with each other and fellowship, which we've already checked that box. We'll do our traditional opening and welcoming, set expectations. We'll give a quick update regarding the Philmont Leadership Challenge, and as well as discussing the upcoming schedule for Beyond PLC. Then we're going to shift gears over to Moose Peterson, who is our subject matter expert for this month in the area of all things photography. And so he'll be speaking, after which we'll do our challenges for the month. And again, the goal is to take the information that we've learned and apply it to your life and continue to grow in the area of servant leadership, which is the lessons we learned during our Philmont Leadership Challenge experience. And then after which we'll break up into small groups where folks give everybody a chance to kind of catch up. And so between this time right now, you're welcome to kind of enjoy the show and talk. I will be calling on those folks to ask you to participate a little bit. But during that small group discussion, please hang around. I'd love to catch up with you guys. And since we have a good group here today, we'll go ahead and break up into about 3 to 4 groups. And then we'll all circle back to the main room, do closing remarks. And I have some exciting news for you guys as to our next speaker and potentially our next 2 speakers for Beyond PLC, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So next up, if you don't mind, Curtis, everybody, if you could mute what do you call it, the Zoom camera, except for Curtis. If you don't mind, you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Curtis. Next up, Scott, if you don't mind, can you lead us in the Scout Oath and Law, please?
Scout oath and law, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2.
Thank you, Scott. Next up, Andy, if you don't mind, lead us in the Philmont Leadership Challenge, the oath that we typically do.
Sure thing. I do hereby promise on my honor as a scout that I will be a servant leader, famous inter pares, first among equals, helping others grow and succeed for the good of all. As the sundial measures the passage of time, so will my service be measured over time by my impact on others. 2.
Thank you, Andy. Again, expectations for our time together is to create a supportive, safe, fun environment for us to get together as Philmont Leadership Challenge graduates. Be prepared to give a quick and succinct answers when it comes to when you're small groups sharing what's going on, because we will only have about 10, maybe 12 minutes worth of time together. So be considerate and give everybody a chance to share when we're in small groups. Recognize and appreciate different communication styles. Live the Scout Oath Law and the PLC Servant Leadership Principles, and help promote the 2025 PLC experience in your respective council. These are kind of the expectations when we're here together. I have in the last episode, last month, folks asked me, hey, John, I'm really enjoying coming to this. I kind of want to know when the upcoming episodes of Beyond PLC are scheduled. And I said, sure. So I created this. So between now and through the rest of this year, we'll take a break after July, and then we'll circle for the 2026 program thereafter. But Wednesday, March 5th is our next one, followed by April 9th, May 7th, June 11th, and July 9th. So go ahead and mark your calendar for those Wednesdays. And again, that starts at 6:45 to 8 Central Standard Time. So whatever your time zone is, adjust appropriately. First 15 minutes is just to check in. Then we start promptly at 7 and promptly at 8 o'clock. Now, as a quick update when it comes to the Philmont Leadership Challenge for 2025. And is Kathy on the call? If not, Sherry, if you don't mind, can you give us a quick update as to how things are looking for registrations? Sherry?
Sure. We've got a total of 21 participants signed up so far. And that is representative of 16 different councils. So we need more.
Very cool. And Sherry, what's the max number that we could have on course in
48.
every given year? 48.
48. And that's, if there's, I usually let another one in or two. I don't like more than 50 because, it gets crowded up there, tent wise. But 48 is what we strive to get.
Very good. And while we're on the topic of leadership challenges, we also have another one at the Summit Leadership Challenge, which is coming up in July. If you guys remember, a couple months ago, Jay Herbrand was here, and he gave us an update on the Summit Leadership Challenge. Sherry, any idea how they're doing on their end as far as getting their classes filled, or their session filled, I should say?
I do not know, and I don't. We talk once a month, and I forgot to ask him that.
Okay, no worries. I just want to make sure that there's plenty of love to go around, and that whether you live on the West Coast, East Coast, or you want a different experience, it's all good. There's plenty of opportunities to get training, and so I just want to make sure that we also promote the Summit Leadership Challenge as well.
Thank you.
And we have Cullen who's here. Cullen, do you mind giving us a quick update regarding the NYLT Power Up coming up July 13th through the 19th out at Philmont? Cullen?
Yeah, John, thank you very much for putting that slide in there. Really excited about this. It's coming together very quickly. The whole point of it really is for folks who are involved with NYLT, National Youth Leadership Training, in their councils. But I'm putting it together with Dora Moreland, who many of you know was on faculty last year, and Lori Stefanini, who's a previous PLC course director and NAIL course director. And this is really turning into something where we're going to take the conversations we had at PLC to the council implementation level. So I think this will be a great place for folks who've been through Leadership Challenge to come to continue the conversation in an NYLT context.
Very cool. While Cullen's here, do y'all have any questions for him regarding the NYLT Power Up?
If it's okay with everyone, I think I did send out a flyer to everyone. So if you could talk it up within your councils, if you're plugged into your NYLT folks, I think it's going to be a good time. And then as we get more information about it, I might still reach back out to you all just to make sure that you have that information. Okay.
Perfect. Cullen, thank you so much. All right. Now, our guest speaker today, and I'm going to go ahead and hop on over to Moose, make sure he's unmuted. So, Moose, I clicked on the link. If you want to go ahead and click on and unmute yourself, that'd be great. Our guest speaker for today is Moose Peterson. For those folks who don't know him, by the end of your time together with him today, you're going to not only get to know him and his backstory and why he's able to capture such amazing photography through his lens and moments through photography, I should say, but also a little bit about Philmont, and in the hopes that you guys will come and join him and many others from across the nation later on this fall back at Philmont for his class, which he's hosting. But with that, I'm going to unshare my screen and share, and then Moose, it will be your screen to share, and so the floor is yours. So if you want to go ahead at the bottom with that green box with the up arrow, if you want to click on that and share any and all of your photos or anything you want to share in your end, you're more than welcome to do so. So, Moose, the floor is yours.
Are you seeing it? Anything?
No, sir, not yet.
You're not seeing big black screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, no worries.
Well, while Moose is doing that, I tell you what, one of the perks of having this group together is it's given me permission to cold call complete strangers that are affiliated with Philmont and just saying, hey, I'm John. Nice to meet you. How'd you like to come hang out with me and a bunch of other Philmont Leadership Challenge graduates and do this thing? And I've gotten a lot of strong positive feedback. They're like, this sounds amazing. Yeah, of course I want to hang out with you. And so next month, well, I'll go ahead while he's pulling it up, a lady by the name of Ashley Olson. No, not that Ashley Olsen as far as the Olsen twins. She actually works at the Tooth of Time Traders. She's the assistant manager. And I've asked her to come and talk about the past, the present, and the future of all things trading posts out at Philmont. And so most people, oh, looks like we lost Moose. I'm sure he'll be right back. So what's cool about the trading post, the Tooth of Time trading post, is oftentimes folks are looking for a good deal on gear before they go backpacking or hit the trail at Philmont, or they're looking for that amazing ornament for their Christmas tree or whatever. But there are trading posts in their locations and their stories out at Philmont, which is its own story. So I wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys. And also another fun fact so I talked to Ashley, and from that experience, Moose, welcome back. Good to see you. Let me go ahead and ask you to unmute. There you go. Go ahead and try to share it again. So through Ashley, she said, hey, John, have you heard about this podcast called Silver on the Sage? Show of hands, how many of you guys have heard of that podcast, Silver on the Sage? There's a lady who was on staff for many years. Her name is Caitlin Lowe. And she has, for 5 years, has had this podcast all about Philmont. And I listened to a couple of the episodes. It's amazing. It's so well produced. It's fantastic. And so I have a call into her, and hopefully we'll get her as a guest speaker in a future month, because that would be a blessing to have her share, because she's interviewed over the last 5 years, who knows how many different people from different areas of Philmont. So to have her as our guest speaker, and my hope is that it will encourage folks to start to listen to her podcast, because she was on staff for many years, and she's checked all these different boxes. And in fact, her father was at Beaubien, and she was on staff at Beaubien. Her sister was on staff at Beaubien, and so it's just a fantastic story. So with that, looks like we are good. And I see your screen, Moose. It's a black screen with them.
Black screen?
I do. So with that,
is it all black?
It is all black. Yes, sir.
All right. When you take a breath, I'll begin.
All right. Perfect. I'm going to be quiet. Moose, the floor is yours. If you don't mind, introduce yourself and take it away.
I'm not sure there's any introductions left. Other than the fact that the program is exactly as John described. So I wasn't really sure where to go with this. The backstory is, for me, okay, and now Keynote doesn't want to play. Hang on. There we go. So Philmont, a couple things to keep in mind. I'm a West Coast scouter. Both my older brothers and I were all Eagle Scouts. I had a whole lot of palms and God and country, things like that. And my dad had a silver beaver. And so he's the only one that actually ventured to Philmont way back in the day with the old fort, which is no longer there. So Philmont had been stuck in the back of my head as a long time. My dad just loved being there. You guys, I'm sure, love being there. You know what I'm talking about. I have two good friends, Roger and Michael, and they said, would you come out and teach photography at Philmont? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we went to the races. And the thing to think about, this whole process, this program, is for probably 98% of the people that are in attendance are scouters who have come through on a trek, which for me was totally foreign, especially the first year. You guys have more lingo than FAA. And I'm trying to get used to and wrap my head around all these things that were being said and done. But the bottom line is their deep passion for Philmont is only kind of tickled with those treks. They actually wanted to spend time to just stop. And they were totally surprised, one, that I had the ability to put us in places where we were it. So there's just 26 of us, not hundreds of boys, just 26 adults. And that blew them away. The silence. Then they got looking at some of the unique features that they weren't aware about. You guys know about this T-Rex track that's up there? I mean, it's amazing. So the diversity of Philmont goes for as long as the horizon. And then there's the tooth, which, man, I've never seen so much affection for a rock in my life. It's like we can't get by it for a second. Oh, there's a tooth. Yes, it's been there for millennia. It'll be there tomorrow. Oh, stop. No, because the light sucks. So what are we instilling in our students? Many of you use the iPhone, which is a really fine instrument, except for the photograph doesn't allow you to explore and finish that photograph to express the emotion you feel. And these guys are full of emotion, you know? We get them up early. How early? We leave, we park campus at 4:45 in the morning. And these guys are like, what time? 4:45. And we have, I call them kids, but it's with great affection, young adults who drive us. And they come with lots of thermoses of coffee and a hot trail breakfast. And they take us wherever Moose says we're going to go. And there's just a variety of places to head off to. Now, if you see vistas on the monitor, you don't know where it is, ask me. I will do my best to identify them after 5 years, doing better. Like this is the reservoir up at Cathedral Lakes, and you'll see it quite a bit. It's a very beautiful place. This year we had screech owl calling on the right side of the frame, northern pygmy owl calling on the left side of the frame. And if I don't see the word, I can't pronounce correctly, but we had a meteorite shower going during the star trails. And there isn't any place we stop that we don't have a moment. Now, there's a lot of things I try to instill. One is understanding in the using of light to express emotion. The other is power of color. And you might say that there's a black and white photograph, but that is color. Black's a color, white's a color, gray's a color. It just isn't a full spectrum color. So going through all this, talk about, oh gosh, the tooth. That's right. Gotta stop for the tooth. Amen, right? I tell you, we spent many an hour talking about photographing the tooth. And it's fun to talk to them, and God bless every one of them. I can rib them like crazy. And there's certain individuals that I can do a little poke here and there, and they'll talk about being on top and this and that, because I've heard the story before, and it's just great revelry. And we go through all these spots, and everybody has that long moment to soak it up. So I'm sure all these gentlemen aren't normally, I should say we have ladies. We have some spouses, but we also have some ladies, scouters. I'm sure that they've never actually been able just to stop and not have some scout tugging on their shirt saying, let's go, let's do this. They're just able to take the moment and enjoy what it is. Of course, historically, you all know what the story about the tooth is, but the story of Philmont is amazing. this year, a week after I left, I learned that my best friend's father-in-law owned the real big ass ranch that just got sold this summer. And Chris had told me many times about his father-in-law's ranch, and I never connected the dots. So that even something as big as that ranch, there's always something to be learned about this stuff. And incorporating that into your photography is the big challenge that we try to circumvent and go through. Now, during the summer, with the very first class, we were in, I'm trying to think that I'm pretty sure it was mid-August, end of August. And so the museum down there was open, and the two curators are reenactors, Travis and you ask, I want to say Scott. And they are really into the history. So I would spend a lot of time talking to them, getting to know what it is they have got rebuilt. If you've not been in the museum, you've got to go. They've done an incredible job bringing items in there to tell the story of the trail, the Santa Fe Trail, and of the store, and then everything that was there back then. And if you didn't know it, behind there is an amazing museum, or graveyard, excuse me. And that graveyard's got some very old headstones. So photographing and bringing back that story. So the one thing that these guys don't have anything of is a sleeping bag or a tent or campfire, drying out socks. And most they have is the old wire beds that are up at Baldy Town. Very kind of the people there. Can't think of her first name, Mrs. Phillips, the granddaughter. She's joined us the first 3 years. And because she's the granddaughter, we were able to push out this 1909, 1910, and we pushed it out. And we all had to wear gloves, and we carefully dusted it and waxed it, carefully got it over, got it placed, and they got to take some time shooting this piece of Philmont history with the old mansion. And by the way, if they ever offer you to stay there, my first recommendation is don't. My first year, I had 3 nights of activity that had no explanation, that was loud and a bit on the boisterous side, and things moving and crashing. So I'm going to leave it at that. Not say anything other than that's what happened, but I won't sleep in there because I can't sleep because we don't get much time to sleep. Because we get up early. This is at cell phone point, as they like to call it. And we're there for sunrise. And we don't finish till long after the sun is gone. Sometimes hours after that. And in between, we're in the classroom because they learn every day. We kind of build on the, excuse me, the skills they have learned the day before at the camera and in the computer. How do you take 3 images of a pano and bring them together to bring up that incredible landscape that is New Mexico and is Philmont, Santa Fe Trail? You know, New Mexico skies, they're kind of pretty famous, you know, and they're gorgeous. Oh, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous every single time you walk out. Spectacular. We've never had rain, never had snow, but we had so much character and voice as they're out there talking. We've had thunder as you're looking past Coyote to the east. We've had thunder out there, and we've had some to the south, but otherwise we just get those gorgeous clouds, and they just bounce the light around the heavens, and we just simply point, shoot, take a shot. And then we come back and we finish it. Nobody in the class except for one takes pictures for a living. They all kind of want to improve their photography. So as they're doing a trek, they're out at a jamboree or they're out for the weekend with their kids. They want to bring back some of the calm that's there. Heard that a lot the first year, calm, quiet, silence. They wanted to bring that back. And I can remember all too well my father and other leaders telling us boys not to be so loud. That was a common statement. My troop was incredibly active. We were on a trail at least once a month, somewhere in the San Gabriels or the Sierra Mountains. That's all we did. We hiked. So I can understand that. And when you're hiking, right, you see things that you never see when you're driving. You never do. This is up at Baldy Town, and it is cruel. I'll admit it. It is cruel. But we take them up there the very first morning. That's where we go. And a bunch of scouters who are up there cold as could be. I always love the fact, I said, do they change the motto? Is it not be prepared? Anyway, and I get this smile, a little kick of the foot in the dust. I said, grin and bear it, sun's coming. Because you look up and the fall color up there is just spectacular. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And everywhere you turn. So this is taken with like 11 millimeter fisheye lens. So it's taken in more than you can with your peripheral vision. And then you might go and there's a hillside one year, not as colorful as I would have liked. That's taken with a longer lens. And then up there waiting for the sun, you look out and, the gradations. And to put that in layman terms, all those different shades of orange and yellow and yellow and yellow and blue. It's so clean and so smooth because all the particulate matter in the air. It's just this tapestry that's so New Mexico. And these are all taken with like a 70 to 200 lens. Sometimes a couple of them are taken with a 400 millimeter. And you're just looking out at the gorgeous view that you have. This is from the stockade one morning. And you just take it in. Now, I get a lot of steps in during this event because they spread out. They just spread out as far as they can go to the left, as far as they can go to the right. And then I hear help. And it's not help as in bring a life preserver or a Band-Aid. It's like help. I can't get what I'm seeing with the camera. And that's what I'm there to do. More importantly, what they feel. We go out in the morning. We go out in the evening. Afternoon, we're in the classroom. And we simply go through the process of, and we don't do anything that's really high tech or difficult. We do things that is simply, I left it in here just to give you an idea. You'll see a railroad stake kind of in the lower right corner with orange surveyor tape on it. It's really obnoxious. It's just the eye kind of stops there and doesn't get into Metcalf. So we show them how to very quickly and simply remove that whole stake in post. So then the eye can travel through the photograph and the vanishing point works and takes you down that railroad track, which someday somebody will inform me why one time it's half there, next time none's there, next time it's all there. It's like it's never the same. It'd be nice if they were, at least when we showed up, it would just go as far as possible. This year it was here. It didn't even go as far as the platform. So I taught them how to take what they saw and extend the railroad tracks in the dark room that wasn't there in reality. So if you don't know these things, then you might see this photograph and say, well, how do I get it? And then I have to explain verbally. Then we do it in the camera. Then we go in the classroom. And that's what makes, for me, this whole presentation just week so amazing, that all the interactions that go on. Now, every scouter loves the heavens. Haven't met a one who didn't think it was amazing. So we spent time, and first 2 years, we go to Cell Phone Point, which kind of worked, kind of didn't work. 1 year, I think it was the first year, I took everybody's portrait with the heavenly bodies, as you see them here in the background, and they all went home with that portrait. It's we all have a soft spot for those skies, in large part because we put our head down in our bags and look up, and there they are. So bringing that home is really important. And then this is up at, I'm going to mess this up, Uraka Meadows, which is going to be west of Lover's Leap. It's a gorgeous place. Every year it's different. Even though the trees are the same, every year is different. We've had horses, we've had elk. This year we had nothing but turkeys and turkeys and turkeys. We had a famous painter there 2 years ago. I couldn't find his name in my notes. So he was a subject, and I don't think he was comfortable with that. And we worked the fall color. Yeah, fall color in black and white. When I first introduced that idea each week, people go, huh? And then I show them the depth that we can create by using the different colors in the leaves. They get hooked. And yes, we play with horsies. What can I say? Philmont, horses, Wranglers, Santa Fe Trail. So this is the our Wednesday routine, and talk about a hilarious. So the first year we get the Wranglers from the ranch. We normally have 5 of them. They have horses in the big field across from the main house, the cafeteria, all there. And they try to drive the horses across so the photographers can practice a simple thing called panning. And panning is where you will properly hand hold your camera, you twist at the trunk, and you shoot with a slow shutter speed so the background blurs but the subject stays sharp. Something you have to be introduced to and then practice. Well, the first year the horses did 1 lap and they said, yep, we're done. And we're like, hello? Yeah, we still got an hour. Hello? The horses sat by the fences and the Wranglers just laughed. I said, okay, Wranglers, we're going to take your picture. And they're like, say what? And I said, yeah, we're going to take your picture. And at first they weren't really kind of, keen on it. This is last October. I call him Billy because he looks like Billy the Kid, man. I mean, everything about his squint and everything else. He had this great horse. I mean, as a black and white, it just knocked down gorgeous. And then a number of years we had Mr. Marlboro Man, and he was very popular. And then we had her. She left a couple years ago, and she had more character than that corral could hold. She was just lit up everything. So she filled up that hour very easily, talking and laughing and being just who she happens to be. And that's kind of what Philmont is all about. Then the next morning we're up and going again. It doesn't stop. That's Venus there, top of the frame. And of course, Cathedral Rock. So we're up at the stockade, which is classically our last morning. And the sunrise up there, I mean, just look at the bands of color and the light. Photographers travel the globe looking for that stuff, and it's at Philmont every morning. Every morning. And we shoot and shoot. We consume way too much coffee because let me tell you, by 10 o'clock when we're heading down, some of the guys are pretty wired, but it could be also from the joy of fellowship and photography. And this year was even a little bit more special. These are horses there at, mine's gone mush, at Miranda. Don't personally really get into horses, but I love light, and I'll never pass up light. So we spent a lot of time there. The idea of the originally was to get elk. These guys are too excited, first time to go out shooting. And then we get up to Baldy Camp and fall color. Fall color is never the same year to year. Not the intensity, not the color, not the volume. So we work it all through. The graveyard there for Miranda. If you've not done that trail, it's kind of interesting. If you look at that it's supposed to be a headstone, the log is no longer in the ground. The log grew around the nameplate. So obviously it was a live tree. And then somebody preserved it with the stakes. 1920. A lot of history. Then we get back to those afternoon thunderstorms. And we're kind of pliable. We do hand out a schedule and kind of give everybody an idea that I am a taskmaster. You will be getting up early every morning and we will be going out shooting and this, that, and the other, but we don't always hold to it. I walk out the door like I do anywhere else and I look up and if the clouds look just phenomenal, well, we're going to go someplace different. If they don't look so good where we're going, then we're going to go play something different. So we have a lot of variety in how we pick and lots of options. And this coming fall, I'm very excited because my friend has the 2,400 acres of ranch that is west of the road up to Baldy Camp. So if you ever gone up the dirt road to Baldy Camp, you get past the lock gate and you go up, you're almost to where it says staff parking. You see a little split off the dirt road. That ranch, that belongs to a friend of mine. So we have access to those 2,400 acres, and that's where a lot of the elk hang out. So hopefully this year we'll get elk for folks. Now we do try the bison, and they're about as cooperative as the horse, all I gotta tell you. Guys are great. They go out and they scout them before we come out in the evening, and I find out where the two main groups are. And if you didn't know about these bison, little trivia, the DNA on the bison of the Philmont herd is different genetically from like the pure strands at Yellowstone. Ted Turner's actually come and grabbed a couple of the bulls to spread it around on his animals. And that's, in the world of biology, very significant. But we have some time with the bison. Again, photographers are learning and trying to get them to kind of hold still and walk slow, stay by the vehicle. Almost herding cats, almost that bad. But you know, you got a scene like that and you got those clouds, you're not sucking dirty pond water, so it's not that bad. Okay, that's my one macro shot. I do macro, not. Metcalf is a gorgeous place. We've had fun there. And I'm not sure if the kids are just playing with me or not. They always say, we don't have the keys, but we can break in. I'm like, good scout skills, guys. And, within a couple of minutes, the light comes on. Hey, Moose, let's go. Oh, I said, okay, fine. My name is not on the out list on the Suburbans, but Metcalf's a really fun place to be. And then, of course, we get back up to the Cathedral Lake. And this is where we spend a lot of time doing heavenly bodies. Gorgeous, gorgeous place. This year we had meteorites going all sorts of places. You can see the Suburbans there on the far left corner. Looking north and south, or I should say east and west. It's all Philmont, right? It's all Philmont. This calm. I hear from these guys. I heard from one of my campers Monday. They still reach out, ask questions, want to know if they're going to do it. Can they get back? The troops doing a trek. They want their time. So it's come to. I know it's about photography, but it seems to these guys more than that. Oh yeah, we do go Indian writings, even though year one, a guy shattered his knee up there. That wasn't good. The funny thing is, we're dear friends. We talk all the time. So he doesn't hold me responsible for shattering his knee. And if you haven't been to the Indian writings, they're a really gorgeous place, challenging photographically, which is why we go there. We make things challenging each time. So they have to learn a little more, think a little bit more, feel a lot more as they go through that process of bringing back Philmont. And got to finish with, of course, Tooth. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer any way I can.
All right, guys, the floor is open. Fire away. We've got a few more minutes to ask Moose whatever questions you have. And let's try to keep them to about 6 minutes. Floor is open.
I have a question, Moose. How much post-production do you do?
Okay, so first of all, we don't do what's called post-production. We finish the photograph. In the world of digital, I call that camera very affectionately the cold-hearted bastard. So there's a number of things it cannot do that our eyes do and we take for granted. So we learn how to finish the photograph, white balance, stuff like that. So each photograph that you saw, there's less than 20 seconds that I put into that for you to see that finished photograph. But we spend the classroom. Let me look real quick. Well, it looks like on an average day, I'm going to say about 5 hours.
Repeat that. You spend 5 hours editing your photos that you shot that day.
So the photographs that you saw just now, none of them had more than 20 seconds of finishing. We spend about 5 hours in the classroom, and I help people for 5 hours.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm fading quick. Sorry.
Hey, Moose, what would you say is the general skill level of your participants in these classes? You mentioned one did it professionally, but what about the other ones?
Crayons.
Okay.
I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
They have a passion. They just need someone help to point it.
Moose,
But
when
they
you go
got
out
heart,
shoot-
man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. When you go out shooting, do you bring one camera or multiple cameras, multiple lenses how many lenses do you switch out during a day?
Myself personally,
Yes.
yeah, I always have two bodies. And thinking about Philmont, I'll have the 600, 7200, 24 to 70, 14, 24, and 11 lenses.
So you're not backpacking with that.
No, I'm sorry I didn't make that clear. We have some great kids who drive us everywhere in the suburban. If you're backpacking, you're not taking pictures, which is why the guys are at this camp, because they don't have to trek. We drive right to Baldy Camp, right to 10,000 feet.
Well, who knew you could just drive there?
Well, that's the whole thing. I guess I didn't do a good job emphasizing that point. Yeah, these guys are doing no trek. They're enjoying just being there.
Moose, if I wanted to sign up, I would go to the Philmont Training Center's website. And do you know what, or I guess that's where I would go, and how much would it cost to be a part of this experience later this fall? Do you have an idea?
Well, the website's a bit of a mess. To find our class, you have to go, and I forget what page it is this year. I've been trying to get Danny to fix it forever. It's at the very bottom of the page. It's a one-line sentence, does not contain my name. And the price is, I believe, $900 for boarding and all meals, transportation once you get on site. It's a steal.
Any other questions for Moose? Again, Moose, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for taking us on this journey and sharing these photos with us. I felt emotion several times as I was looking at certain photos, and I'm wondering if the emotional experience I had with certain photos was the same one that others had, or perhaps maybe it was different photos, but that's what makes photography so amazing, when you capture those moments. So thank you.
My pleasure. Well, thank you, guys. Don't take it personally, but I'm going to be signing off. You guys have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you very much, Moose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was a treat.
All
Thank you.
right.
Your pictures are amazing.
All right, guys, at this time, we're going to go ahead and pause the recording. We're going to break up into small groups, and then we'll reconvene in a few minutes. Again, welcome back to the main room. I'm going to go ahead and share our wrap up our time together with the PowerPoint one last time. So as we look into the next month, again, we look at Moose's challenges for the month of February. So between now and March the 1st, Mission Impossible style. This is your mission, should you choose to accept it. First would be to visit Moose Peterson's website. You guys got a good taste of all the amazing photography he's taken. There is a lot of aerial photography that Moose has also taken, because my understanding is he's also a pilot. And so if you notice he mentioned the FAA, Federal Aviation. Yeah, so he's got all kinds of amazing aerial photography as well. And so go to his website, take a look at it. Second is sign up and attend Moose's photography class. If this basically flips a switch in your brain, you're like, you know what am I doing this fall? This looks like a once in a lifetime opportunity to actually grow. I have an iPhone. I don't actually own a camera, so that may be a stretch for me. But if you've got a camera and you're like, I need to put to good use, this would be a great use for it. Number 3 is share at least one thing you've learned tonight with a fellow scouter and talk about this experience. Again, the intent is to bring people back to Philmont. And if it's through the flora and fauna and through photography that wins people back to Philmont and helps them come back to heaven on earth, or home as we like to call Philmont, then so be it. Number 4 is connect with your buddy from your Philmont Leadership Challenge and turn to pages 50 and 51 if you remember the ongoing challenge. And that's where you'll find it on those pages. And fifth and final, again, is be prepared to share in next month's edition of Beyond Philmont Leadership Challenge what you've experienced in your life. And I've got great news for you guys. Ashley Olson will be our guest speaker next month. Again, she's with the Tooth of Time Traders, and she's going to be talking about the trading posts at Philmont, past, present, as well as in the future. And had a great conversation with her, and she's tons of energy. She is the assistant store manager there. And she was actually recently, like I mentioned, interviewed in the Silver on the Sage podcast, which my hope is to get the lady who runs the Silver on the Sage podcast for a future month, but we'll see about that. So with that, I just want to thank you guys for joining us, and let me unshare the screen and look back to you guys. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us, and look forward to seeing you guys next month. Take care, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Guys.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, everyone.